Welcome everyone to this rescheduled hybrid meeting of the Policy and Resources Committee. I would remind all attendees that this meeting has been recorded and webcast live on the Council's YouTube channel. I have agreed the attendance of some members remotely and would remind all remote attendees to mute their microphones when not speaking. For any members of the public watching, please note that all the public committee reports, including details of specific recommendations, are available on the Council's website. We will begin with item 1, apologies and substitutes.
Thanks, Convener. We have apologies for Councillor Cruikshanks with Councillor Gall as substitute.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest and statements of transparency. Councillor Cowdery first.
Thank you. So I'm a board member of Arbroath Golf Links. I would actually take advice from officers to whether or not I should recuse myself from that paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cowdery. Obviously the decision is yours, but I think the detail within the report is a proposal at present, and when that comes back to committee, it may be that you excuse yourself at that point, but at the moment I would suggest that you don't need to.
So just to respond to that, thank you very much. So it's just a declaration of transparency and I'll stay in the meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Shepherd.
Thanks. Yeah, just a statement of transparency. I'm also on the Arbroath Golf Links board, but I'll be staying in the meeting today. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Duff.
Yes, I gave quite a bit of thought to this, and I'm on the board of MGLL, the Montrose Golf Links Limited Company. I am going to make a statement of transparency on that. Mainly because I think if you look at the paper, we're not actually really agreeing to anything. We're just instructing officers to start negotiating with MGLL, and I think at a later point I might have to declare a statement of interest, but I think this time it's just a statement of transparency, and I will stay in the meeting. Thank you.
Are there any more? No? Thank you. We'll move to item 3. Minutes. Minutes of the previous meeting. Do we agree that these are a true record of the previous meeting? And B, Policy and Resources Grant Subcommittee. This is submitted for noting. Do we agree to note the Policy and Resources Grant Subcommittee minute? Moving on to item 4, the possible exclusion of public and press. The committee will be asked to consider in terms of Standing Order 27(2) whether the public and press should be excluded during consideration of items 6 to 15 so as to avoid the disclosure of information which is exempt in terms of Part 1 of Schedule 7A to the Local Government Scotland Act 1973. Do we agree? On now then to item 5, UK Shared Prosperity Fund 2005-2006, Year 4 programme. And I believe we have, is it Jill Patterson to talk to this report.
Thank you, Convener. This report provides an update on the UK Shared Prosperity Fund for the first 3 years of the programme, and also sets out proposals for Year 4 programme. The two programmes are seen as independently as they fall across a UK Government spending review. So there was a hard stop date of the 31st of March of this year for all activity under Years 1 to 3 of the programme to have been completed by that date. And effectively a new programme which is an extension of 1 year of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, whilst UK Government look at alternative proposals going forward for Year 4 at a slightly reduced amount. Just to point out to members, under paragraph 5.4, we had previously indicated that the underspend for Years 1 to 3 of the programme, which would result in a slight reduction in the Year 4 programme, was due to be around about the 136,000 figure. The reporting has now gone into UK Government, and that figure is now sitting at a 39,000 underspend for Year 1 to 3 of the programme. Members are asked just to note the year 1 to 3 programme in terms of spend, and we'll report back on the projects that were delivered through the fund once we've done the reporting outcomes that are underway at the moment for those year 1 to 3. The paper sets out proposals for the Year 4 programme. There is a slight change in terms of the objectives under UK Shared Prosperity Fund, just with the change in UK government, but generally the programme has been matched up in terms of alignment to both the priorities and the specific interventions that sit beneath that. So the table set out in paragraph 6.2 sets out the proposals for the use of the Year 4 programme funding. There is a slight balance sitting, and a future report will bring back remaining projects for utilising the remaining spend. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Can I open up to any questions from members? Councillor MacDonald.
Thank you, Convener. When it comes to the underspend, the Youth Work 1-to-1 and the Dundee and Angus College of Multiple Mass Support have been successful projects. Is there any opportunity to use some of that to fund those sort of projects further, or is there reasons why the figure is that figure?
So the figure on the Youth Work 1-to-1 support actually funds members of staff. So to alter that would result us in having to either create a new post or look at increased hours for the existing post. So that's actually a continuation of the 1-to-1 youth work support from years 1 to 3 of the programme. So continuation of the staff in that post. There is potential to increase the Dundee and Angus College Multiply maths support. So the original proposal was for additional activity beyond that figure. The projects were considered by our sort of strategic projects and funding group, and considered that only certain elements were delivering a better benefit than others, hence the figure sitting at that. But you'll see we've also popped an asterisk against that just to make sure we've had an opportunity to review the value of that programme before confirmation that we can go ahead with that. But yeah, there is potential to do that on that particular one.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from members? Councillor Speed.
Yep, thank you. It was on the underspend as well. It's obviously important that we don't just kind of put money to something or spend money unless we know that we're going to see the benefits and get results. But I also feel I sometimes get a bit uncomfortable when there are underspends, when we know that there is so much need within our communities, and businesses are struggling, people are struggling. So I just wondered if you could provide a bit more kind of context as to perhaps what can be done to ensure that we do manage to maximise best use of the resources that we do have to use.
Thank you, Councillor Speed. Yes, I can provide a little bit of background just in terms of the underspend, and actually part of that is reflected quite across most councils across the UK, primarily in the context of the hard stop date of the 31st of March in relation to capital. So unlike quite a lot of the Scottish Government funds where we only require to commit the funds, UK Government's requirements on this particular fund were that the activity must have taken place by that date. And actually you'll see from the list of proposals we have actually on this list both Kirriemuir Gateway to the Glens Museum and Arbroath Community Centre roof were two projects that had been earmarked for funding, but due to particularly the timescales to get tenders out, to get those back, we could have started works, but we would not have had the activity completed by the 31st of March. And looking at the risk around those and what progress would have been made had resulted in an underspend. Kudos to colleagues who have done an awful lot of work to really try and reduce that underspend over the last few weeks. We do have a little bit of underspend on the revenue as well, which primarily relates to some of our business grants. So companies that we had awarded a business grant to, there was a small number of those, for whatever reason, were unable to actually meet the terms of the grant that they were offered, and therefore only at the last stage did we know that we had that underspend sitting. So they had actually been committed to businesses, but again, because the activity had to have taken place, it wasn't easy at that very late date to say, here's an alternative option. What we've looked at and really determined through the proposals for the Year 4 programme through the Strategic Projects and Funding Group is probably sit with more in revenue than we would have liked to, just because of the challenges that often arise around capital projects, and a lot of these are a continuation of previous projects to enable us to meet that deadline.
Thank you. Moving now to Councillor Duff.
Yeah, thank you, Convener. Yes, just a couple of questions about the two items at the bottom of the list, the two feasibility studies, the ones for the beach huts and the one for motorhomes. As my understanding is that's to effectively to hire resource consultancy to help work up sort of plans for both of these things. So realistically, we're talking about 2026 to be operational in either of those areas if they look productive. Is that right?
That's probably correct, Councillor Duff. So particularly on the beach huts proposal is to effectively look at the business plan for how that would operate in terms of rental, what maintenance costs would be around putting in beach huts at the West Links. Specifically on the motorhome stopover sites, there's two elements to that. So one is looking at the site next to Gayfield in Arbroath, and particularly some of the infrastructure that needs to be put in place. So it's not just simply a case of adding a charging to that, which effectively formalises that as a stopover site. And due to the number of motorhomes, it then requires planning permission. And as a responsible stopover site, we then need to look at what the supporting infrastructure is. So that's the nature of that proposal. It will also look and work with colleagues in roads and transportation around utilising some of our car parks in terms of a pilot programme, which may be something that we could deliver this year.
Are there any additional questions? If not, we'll move to comments. Any comments from members? Councillor Speed.
Yeah, just in terms of the monies that haven't been allocated, I really would hope that that the council and councillors would have the opportunity to perhaps identify any gaps within Angus where we perhaps feel that those monies could be directed and targeted to, especially when we know that there is so much need and struggle within our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No? With that, then we'll move to the recommendations. There are 4 recommendations. Do we agree the 4 recommendations? Thank you. That takes us on to item 5, and for item 5 we will stop the live stream.
Hi John, can you stop the live stream please?